All right, cool. Testing 1, 2. Oh, okay. So today's stream. Ah, so I'm going over color masking. All right. So I do a lot of modding, and so what happens a lot of times is we get these models, and they just have these black and white um, colors for them. And these black and white colors are fine, and they work great, but they need to be colored. So there's no color information, or you can find color information, but nothing's actually applied. Um, in this case, I've got this outfit here, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to isolate. Oops, let me turn this back on. I'm just going to isolate the material that I want to work with right now. So I'm going to edit mode and select this. And now I'm going to go to, oops. Yeah. I'm going to just hit select over here on this shirt, hit Control I, and then hide it. So now I've got this black and white image. To set up the material is really simple, or the basic color is I've just got my color maps here. Just bring them into Blender, attach them. If you should already know some basic like material application. And what I'm using is a mix node. The mix node is probably the most important node whenever you're coloring and setting up your materials, because it's how you blend and do all kinds of stuff. There are all kinds of options to use. In my experience, overlay is the best option. So I take my two black and white images that I have here, and I just blend them together, because for whatever reason, the original creator has a. So I'm just going to plug that in there just to kind of show that that's attached. And now I have all of this confusing stuff over here. Like, what is all of this? So I'm just going to go through what I have here and kind of show you how it works. Now, oftentimes what will happen is you'll get this black and white thing, and then you'll get an ID mask. And in my case, my ID mask, and I'm going to go to image editor and we'll take a look at it, is this, right? And it's this green and red mask. And in most cases, it's just going to be like green, blue, red, black. It might be cyan, might be yellow, things of that nature to separate it. But in this example, it's just different hues of green. And I'll show you how we can work with that and kind of how this whole process works. So I'm going to go back to my shader editor here and kind of go over what I have. So this right here is the most basic setup that we have. So this is my ID mask. Move these all out of the way. Get out of here. Move. There we go. All right, so this is just like a basic node that's in Blender. So I have my ID mask or texture map or whatever, and then I have this separate color node, and it's super simple. If I just delete it, I would just hit Shift A to open up my menu, hit S to search, and then just hit separate color. And what that does is it separates this image into the different channels of the color red, green, and blue. And if I plug that in, you can kind of see what it does. So let's grab the red and just plug the red in. All right, give it a second. All right, and so now everything that's red is going to be light colored, and anything that's not red will be black. So in this case, I have a little bit of color back here. I got this tie is bright white, and the buttons are whatever color. And that's fine. And if I want to use this as a color, what I can do is hit Shift A, make search, and make a mix node. Mix color, or just mix node, depending on which version of Blender you have. This is 3.6. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this red and I'll plug it into the factor. And this is like gonna how do I explain this? Let's see. Let's use this mix node just by itself to kind of show the example. So let's make the top one black and the bottom one, make the bottom one white. Okay, so the way this works is that this factor is how much of A and how much of B. So if I move it to 0, then it's all A. If I move it to 1, then it's all B. Now if I put this in here, then this is my original, and then this is my backup. So this one is saying that all that white stuff is now this color. So I can change this color to whatever I want. And that's one way that you can color your stuff. So let's say I want to add more colors, right? Because I don't want just one channel. It's very simple. I'm just gonna hit Shift D to create a duplicate of this one. Stick it right in there, and it will automatically plug into the A. It's carrying over this information over here, and it's gonna be all one color because I haven't split it by anything. So I'm gonna grab green and run green and plug it in. And so what does that do? It splits it. So now I have red and I have blue. And if your color maps are set up like that, then you're done. Or you're not done. Right now you just set up your mask. Now I need this mask to actually be combined with my my diffuse map. So we'll do another one of these. Now bring this one in, and this one will be on the top, and I want this to be applied on top of it. I'll drop that here. And right now it's set to mix, and I want this to blend together. So I'm going to use overlay. I'll change mix to overlay. Where is it at? Here it is. And now it's all blended together, and I can turn this off to kind of show that these colors have been applied right on top. And if I want to change how much, I can just slide this back and forth, back to having no impact or full impact, and blend it in. And depending on what you want to do, you can change these modes to whatever you want. You could add that type of look. Multiply is a common one as well. Multiply is fine, but oftentimes for me it's too dark. But sometimes that's appropriate. So, but I like overlay, so we'll go back to overlay. All right, cool. But you also notice that if I want to change colors, the only options in this particular setup is to use these two colors, right? I can either make it all green, or I can make it whatever color. And I want to have more control. So this is good for very simple things. But we need to get a little bit deeper. So let's go ahead and I'm going to delete these. Syncing that with up. There we go. Put that back in there. And I'm going to grab this little guy and move him over here. So next up, I have something that's a little bit more in depth. Now, the way this one works is it's the same thing, same idea, but I have this node group, right? And I'll go into what's inside the node group, but first I'll show you kind of like how it works. So just like this one over here has splits into nodes, this one splits into other color options. I don't have an example to use right now, but if I had, oh, and this is not named correctly. Let me change the names real quick. So I'll make this available whenever it's done. So let's see. This one is yellow. This one should be cyan. And maybe I'll find a different example to show exactly how this one works a little bit more a little bit later. And I'll explain how those nodes work. But just like the other one, this one is kind of splits everything up for me. And so I'm going to grab a mix node. In 3.6, if I go to mix, I have different versions of it. I'm going to use color. And I know I have red and green. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab red. plug it in here. Let's just make this one all red. Oops. All right. And what this one also does is I have it set to normalize everything, so I don't have different shades of red. These are all just one thing of red. And we know we have green, so I can do the same thing I did before. Add another mix node. And let's change this one to green. And I'll just grab the little green section. Plug that into the factory. And now I have a red and a green outfit. And then if I grab another one, let's go ahead and set it to overlay. We'll plug this one. I can grab it. Come here. Plug that into the top. Grab my mask. Set this to full. So now I have this blended image. So this is essentially the same as the other one, except I have different colors broken out. And if I choose a color that I don't have, it should be blank. So let's see if I did this right. Let's grab another one of these. And I'll pick a color like blue. So grab blue. Oh, I'll plug it into this one. And we'll change this to blue. And as you can see, since there's no blue in my ID mask, then nothing is blue. So if you pick the wrong one, you pick the wrong one. No harm, no foul. You just don't have a color to change. And I'll explain how this one works. It's relatively simple. So if we go into here, so this is my input, and I'm going to build it out here and then show you how I made it into a group. So basically all you do is you'll grab this, and I can type in normalize, and I'll get this normalized node. And this evens out all of my colors. And now I'm going to split this using a separate color node. Boom. And then what I did is just like with the separate node, I have I have a red, green, and a blue channel, right? Red, green, blue. So that one's pretty easy to set up. Let's go ahead and delete these for right now. If I bring this down so we can see it. All right. And if I bring this in here, we have what's in the red. All right. So that works great. And same thing for green and blue. But if I wanted to, the other colors that usually exist here, cyan, magenta, and yellow, that's just a mix of these. So to mix them, I would do, let's see, red. I'm just going to add it together, right? So add, then I'll add this, right? I'll plug that in. And because red and green are added together, all the red and green parts are associated with this section. See, so I went in here and I have those two added and I set that to yellow. I did the same thing for, so it's red and green is yellow, green and blue is cyan, and red and blue is magenta. And to get white and black, all I did was added that combination of you can add all three of these together. Actually, is what I should have done. Let me fix this. So for this one, I'm going to take red and add it here. Green, add it here. And I'm gonna go to another add node and then add blue. So that is gonna essentially give me white. So whatever white parts of my mask will be using this factor. And then I use an invert node, and that'll give me black. I don't know what this color node down here is for. And to set up a node group, all you do is you select it and you I just right click and go to make group, and it puts it all in a nice little group with your inputs and your outputs. This drove me crazy, but to go in and out of these different sections, there's a little arrow over here. And if your screen is small, like, oh no, don't do that. If your screen is shorter, you may not see that arrow depending on how things are set. If you hold down the mouse wheel, you should be able to move this section. See it, but I digress. So that's if you have a simple basic map. But for Tekken 8, which is the one I've been working on, it's a bit more complicated. And we'll go into how that one works. Okay, so we'll grab this little guy here. So this little guy right here, what I'm doing, all right, here, let's take a look at the image as well. So if I look at this, it's kind of crazy because there's a bunch of different shades. And what I figured it out is that they're splitting everything up by the color and then by the value of that color. If I go into Photoshop, let's open up that image. Let's see, yeah. Let's see, where is the image I'm using? And I can pull some of these as examples as well, but for now, I'm using this one. So if I'm in Photoshop and I go to look at the channel section, right? I go to red, I see that there's different values of red. And there's different values of green. And I needed to figure out how to split those up. So I created a new node group, and if I hit the right buttons, we'll go take a look at it. So let's go into here to kind of see how it works. And it looks a little bit confusing, but the concept is this, all right? So this is my ID map, and this is feeding into this section. And I guess I'll go ahead and bring it in just to kind of show how it works. So I'm going to paste it in here. So I've got this mask, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate it, except I'm not going to separate it into RGB. I'm separating it into HSV, which is hue, saturation, and value. So that gets plugged into that section, and which would be the same thing as getting plugged from the outside in here, right? Okay, so let's split this up into hue, saturation, and value. So the first thing I want to do is I need to set up a range of what's acceptable. So what I did is I take the hue and I put it into the top value. And this is a math node. And to make a math node, it's super simple. Shift A, search, math, and now you got a math node. And you have these different functions you can do. They do all kinds of things. And there's also a vector math node that deals with coordinates and stuff, but we're not using that one right now. So basically, it's like simple math, right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking this view, whatever the value is for this hue, from this, it's being split, I'm setting it here. And I'm going to add an amount to it. So in this case, I'm adding 0.2. And on the bottom, I'm doing the exact same thing, except I'm using subtract. And so this will give me a range up and down from this amount to kind of like split things up. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to let me go ahead and make those small. And there's a video I'm gonna link that kind of shows this a lot of bit more in more detail how these things are set up. But this is what I've built from watching that video. And so in this case, I'm going to grab another amount, right? Because what I want to do is find out what is less than this amount, this top range. So the amount I added, I want to make sure I'm finding a color that's underneath of this. And same thing for the bottom, I want to find something that's greater than the low amount that I created. And that'll give me my in-between range. And then I have to multiply those two things together to get my result. And that's going to confirm the hue, right? That confirms that the color I'm picking is the color that I want. Now up here for hue, I have this thing set up to mask color. So if I pull this away, I've got an RGB slot set up in here, right? And I can pick the color that I want. In this case, we're using red. So red at full, if it lets me do it. And so that's what's setting up the hue, right? Hue for the red. So I'm comparing what's in here to this. So I'm isolating only red stuff within this range. And this stays constant. I don't need to change this once I set it. If you're dealing with something that's a little bit more tight, you can make this value larger or smaller to see kind of how it works for you. Now the second thing that I'm doing for this particular section is I don't need to deal with saturation. I just need to deal with value, because that's all that's changing when I look here, right? Just the value, how strong it is. And so I need this value section. But I don't need the value anymore from this color, because this is just setting up the actual color I want to be referencing. What I need to do is set up a value. So I'm gonna hit Shift D to make a copy of that one. And I would take this value and set it into the second section. And just like in the top part here, I need to do the same thing, right? Put this in here, get the value, put the value at the top, add an amount to it, add an amount to it. And I'm keeping it consistent across all of them, so I can just bring this value into all of these. All right. And this value I need to compare, right? So this value would be go here, and this value here. And this allows me to switch to the values, right? So I can make it bigger or smaller to cycle through those different values that exist. And I'll show you how that works once I get out of here. Now to make it all work together, I have to multiply these two to get a result. And then I just multiply everything to keep multiplying until I have no multiplication left. I just have this one amount. And then that's my output. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this value because I have it set to go into here. Okay. And this mask color, I'm going to go here because this will allow me to choose it from the outside. So I don't have to see all this mess and just see that node group and all this stuff is going on the inside. And this is the ID map, and we're going to plug that into here, and I can get rid of this. All right, so now we've got this simple little setup right here. So let's see how it works, right? So I'm going to pick red as my main color. And we'll set this all the way down to 0. I'm going to plug my map into here. Let's move this thing a little bit closer. And we're going to plug this in here. Okay, so it doesn't change any colors right now because all it's doing is saying, hey, at 0, this section is lit up. And if I cycle through this value section, you'll see other parts start to light up. All right, there's the buttons. Buttons have their own value, which is kind of cool. And I can keep going. All right, nothing at 0.6. Move up. All right, anything there? Nope, nothing there. Oh, and there we go. Now we got the top. So it looks like I have, what, 3 different areas to use? So what I can do is I can start to combine all that together. So using a lovely mix node, Shift A, search, or a mix color node. and I'm going to plug this into the factor, right? And I usually set this top one to black as a base, and then if I want to, I can just make this one red to start with. All right, and then I can plug it in and see what happens. And so that's high is red, but I'm gonna start at the beginning. So we're gonna go to 0. They're like, okay, cool, there we go. We've got a red back of the outfit. I hit Shift D and add another mix node. And I'll need another one of these. So I hit Shift D, make another one of these. Make sure it's plugged into my ID map. Plug this one in. And because it's exactly the same, there's not gonna be any change, right? So let's go ahead and change the color. Let's make it green. And I'm gonna just cycle through here. All right, cool. We got to 0.4 and we've got these buttons, which is great. Let's do the same thing. And we'll make a copy of this one. Plug it in. And let's plug this to the factor. And let's make this blue. All right, and it changed my buttons because it's kind of overriding it, but we're gonna cycle up a little bit more and see what happens. And I don't think we get anything until we get above that. So 90 to 100 is kind of where we're at. Okay, so now I've got 3 different colors. And I have full control over this. Whereas in the other options, I only had red and green. Now I've got 3 different color options for red alone. And then I just continue on down the line. So I hit Shift D, make another one. I'll plug it into the ID map. Plug this in. All right, let's make this say yellow. So we'll use full red, full green, and no, oops. Come on. Okay. All right. Take this. Oops, not that one. This one. And plug that in. Oh, but we need to change this to our other color. So I'm gonna change this to green. We'll set it back to 0. I'm like, all right, cool. So at 0, this part is filled in. So let's see what else we got. And essentially, this is what I've done several times over. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete these for now and show you what it looks like when it's all done. So we'll grab this, move it over. And as you can see, this is what I did at the finished touches. And when I plug it all in, you can see that I have different colors on everything. And if I wanted to change those colors, I could change them. Just like say like, oh, I want this to be this color or whatever. And say you want a bunch of colors to be the same, I can hit Shift A, search RGB, right? And say I want like a deep crimson. I could say, okay, so let's make this yellow part deep crimson. Oops. I'll plug that into that one and say, let's make the shirt like maybe like a, oh, we'll make it black or something, or dark, like a dark crimson, and plug that into pink. There we go. And let's just go to classic white tie, and you can change the color here as well, but I like to keep these colors as a point of reference, and it's easier if you add another color to it, because if I want to go back to that original color, I just unplug it. And once you have all your colors set up, you'll just do, let's bring these closer, grab like this again, so we have our overlay, mix node, drop it in here. this plugs into the top, but we're going to plug it into the bottom. Grab this. And just give it a second to think. All right, there we go. So that's that section colored with these crazy colors here, right? Now I could keep doing this over and over again, but I wanted to find a little bit better way of doing it. So I created something else for the purpose of this particular shader. So I'm gonna leave that there for now. And we'll just move that to the far left. We're gonna take a look at this other setup I have over here. Let's see if I can move it over. Okay, with this setup, it looks a little bit confusing, and it's gonna look a little bit more confusing when I go inside. But basically, if I was just gonna explain it, I have my ID map, and it's going to my three main colors, right? I've got to zoom in. So I have the ID map inset, I have the mask color that I'll be using as my base, and then I have these different slots here, and these all represent the 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. And what I've done is I've essentially you can just drag and drop colors over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all these colors out and show you how this works. I'm going to unplug this for now. And what I'm doing is I'm mixing the stuff together, right? So I started off with red, and I'm mixing it with green. And to mix it with green, I need to make sure I select green here and plug it into my factor. And then for this one, since I'm mixing it with blue, I set blue in my factor, and that'll help all these things to blend together. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in. And now everything is gonna be black. It's just gonna be full black, right? So what I can do now is I can figure out where the colors actually are. So I could just say, so I've got this little RGB, and I can just plug it into 0, and I'm like, did anything change? Nope. So let's plug it into 20. Oh, there, that one works. So I can unplug it and just set it to some random color if I want to. And now let's plug it into 40. Anything change? Nope. Plug it into 60. Oh, yep, we got buttons. And then assign a color to each of the spots. See anything for 80? Nope. And for 100? Perfect. And just do the same thing for each of them. Now, if you know there's no blue, you don't even need the blue one there. But I'm looking to see, is there anything at 0? Nope. Anything at 20? Yes. Grab this. Anything at 40? Yep, we got this little piece up here. So let's make it like, let's see, anything at 80? Anything at 100? Yep, there we go. All right, cool. And if I wanted to add other colors to it, I could do like what I did before. So in this case, let's keep it real simple. I'm gonna make, let's make like a gray, and we'll make this red thing gray, and we'll make this blue down here gray as well. And let's make the buttons, we'll make them like a bright gold color. And the buttons are this green, I think. Yep. And I also want this one thing up there to be that color. All right, cool. And it can get a little bit confusing, so just move your stuff around a little bit so you kind of see where your stuff is at. However suits you. And let's turn this back part into a dark gray. And let's change. What other colors we got left? Oh, the tie. Let's make the tie like pink. There we go. Alright, so there's our outfit. Now if I want to add my add it to my colors, I'm just going to put this in the middle here and make sure this one runs into the bottom, and this one runs into there. Oh, and then switch this over. And now my stuff is colored. Now, one of the things I was saying is cool about this is, let's say these buttons and this chain thing up here, I want those to be shiny, right? Because right now they're not shiny. So I know that I'm using this color for my buttons, right? But I don't want these large stacks everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and see what it's attached to, right? So I have on the red side, this is into 80 and it's plugged into the 40 on the green. So I'm going to go back to my little one right here, and I'm just going to copy these. Just come over to this area. I'm going to paste it. Where did it paste it? Alright, just paste. It pastes like right on top of wherever you got it from. I don't know why. Okay, cool. So I'm going to grab two of these. And I know I want the red 80. I think I say 80. Let me zoom in. Oh no, it's a red at 60. So we'll move this to 6. And then I want, oh, this has to be plugged in. And then we want green. And the green one is at 40. Set this to 40. I'm going to add these two together like I did in the other section. Alright, cool. And if I want to make it look a little bit simpler, I could group all of this. Let's go ahead and group it. And we'll make sure this is going as an output. Alright, so now I got this little section for that. And if you want to rename it, you can just go to like rename, right click rename, and call this metal parts, right? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to change the roughness and the metallic of this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create another mix node. I love the mix node. We use a mix color node, and I'm going to set this to so for metallic, whatever is black is not metallic, and whatever is white is full metallic. So I'm going to set this as black as the base, and I'm going to set this factor here, and I'll set this one to full white. Right? I'll plug this into metallic, and what should happen is that the parts that are white here, so this is going to be a little bit more shiny. You can't really see it right now, maybe not as much, so let's make it a little bit more pronounced. So I'm going to hit this to make that smaller. I'm going to hit Shift D, and I'm going to do the same thing to my roughness, but the roughness is opposite. So in roughness, if you want maximum, if you want maximum roughness, it needs to be white. Usually things start as rough and then go less, and then this side will be black. So I'll put this into the factor. That doesn't change, and I'll put this into roughness. And there we go. So now that part is nice and shiny, right? And if it's too shiny, I can just go in here and change this value at the bottom, right? Make it a little bit less shiny. Oops. Sorry about that. And I can minimize that if I want to. But let's say I want to do something with the tie. Let's change the tie up a little bit. So the tie is really flat. Let's make the tie a little bit less rough. So the tie is this pink color, and that's what? Red at 0. So I'm gonna just grab these two, just copy them, and and if I want to, I can group these ones as well, but I need to make sure I pick I think this is at red at 100. All right, so let's go ahead and group these. Make sure this one is popping out. I'll say rename shirt tie. Okay, so this is for my shirt tie. And let's go ahead and make the shirt rough. So we already have this one here. I don't want to lose that. So we'll keep that the way it is. And we're going to make a new one. So Shift D, attach it through. And so now whatever I had set up before gets passed through, right? And now I'm going to take this factor and stick it in here. And now look, that shirt is super shiny. We don't need it that shiny. We don't want it super flat either, so we'll make it a little bit shiny. All right. Cool. And I have some other normal maps that I want to use as well. So say I want to put a normal map onto this thing. So I'm going to go here and hit Shift D to duplicate that. I'm going to grab the normal map for the shirt. Right, here we go. And here's the normal. I'm just going to drag and drop it. If it'll let me. And right now you can only drag and drop one as far as I'm aware. Right there. My system's just really slow today. And I'm just going to double click on this one. So there's two normal maps in here. So I'm going to set up a normal map setup real quick. It's real simple. Basically, I'm going to use that same overlay. And we're going to combine the color for both of these. Doesn't matter the order. Turn this to non-color, because that's how normal maps work. Alright, nice. And now I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Oh, I need a normal map node. There we go. And we'll plug this into color, and then we'll plug this into our normal map. And our normal map gives us all the bumps and all that good stuff. Makes it look good. Alright, so we see that there's very minimal normals on this one, a little bit of wrinkles, a little bit of stuff there, but we want to add some more to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this tie, bring it down here, and I'm going to grab and duplicate that and open up a new map. And I have some let's see, detail maps I want to use. So let's take this let's take this crosshatch thing. Alright, let's set it to non-color. And I want to mix it with this one. So we're going to duplicate this. Let's say I only want this this to be on the tie area. I'm going to just set the tie area. And I'm going to move that behind there, and I'll show you why in a second. And then plug it in. All right. So I'm going to create a mapping node. Coordinates. Because I want to change the scale of this texture. And I usually set this up into a little node setup as well, just so it's not all over the place. So I just turn this into a group. And in this case, I want just the scale. So I'm going to set the scale there, and then it's already set for my output. And now I can change the scale of this design, see? And as you can see, it is only affecting the tie. Oops. Set these all off. My computer's lagging, so I apologize. Hopefully the stream is going good. I can't see the stream right now, so I apologize if anyone's talking. And so I can add this design to the tie to give it a little bit more oomph to it. And I can change that however I want to. Skinny, wide, whatever. But it only affects the tie. Let's say I want to add something to the shirt. So let's add something to the shirt, but not the collar area. Same difference. We're going to go up here. We're going to figure out what is the shirt attached to. And I believe it's this one. If I unplug that. Nope, that's not the right one. So let's go ahead and plug that back in. Let's see, it must be one of these. Alright, this is my gold one. It's probably one of these. So I think it's 100 actually. Yep. Oh look, you know, I might even keep that red. But we know that it's green 100. And let's say yeah. And you don't have to keep making little groups like I have if you don't want to. You can just grab one copy of it. So it's a copy. And I can just keep it down here as a map. So anytime I want to use this as my base reference for one of these little things, I can just string off of here. But it can get really confusing if you do that. Depending on how much stuff you want to change and edit and do whatever. So I'm going to do it the way I have been doing it. But just to let you know there was an option. Copy. Paste. There's a little guy. And what did I say? It's at green 100. So we'll set this to green. Plug this in. Set that to. And plug that in. And I'm going to add a new normal for this one. Alright, so let's grab another normal. Different one. Let's see, let's make these large. And say, what kind of design do I want to put on it? This is for like metal and stuff. And if you have your own, this fine grain. Oh, we got this poplin. Use this poplin color. And because it's normal, we're going to keep it along this chain of normals over here. So, same thing. Boom. Set this up. Throw that in there. go here. Alright, so we're adding that normal there. Oh, and I have to make sure that it's non-color. Alright, and I'm going to grab this little mapping node thing I made over here, and I'm going to bring a big copy of it, plug it into this, and reset this back to 1. 1. And now I can just select all of these and size them. Oops. Come on. Oh my goodness. It just gives a slight different look to it. Not a huge difference. But let's make it shiny too. I want to make it shiny. So let's go ahead and grab this. And we're going to take this little shirt base. And we'll take it up here where the roughness stuff was at. The same principle. Drop it on there. Drop it on here. Or actually, I don't really mess with the roughness. I want to mix with the metallic. So I'm gonna unplug that for now. And we're gonna plug this one up here in between the metallic. So this result goes into the top. This result goes into metallic. Place it wherever I want to, where I can see what's going on. Make it a little bit less metallic. And the metallic is kind of just gives it like a heat to it because there's not really any roughness to it either. So if I want to just play around with that, go ahead and bring one down here. A little bit shinier. There we go. So now I got a nice shiny top in there. I've got this purple and I'm like, ooh, that purple sucks. I don't like it anymore. Just go back up here and say, let's change it to something different. Maybe I just want to make it white or really light gray. Alright, now if your colors for whatever reason aren't really popping after the mix and you want them to be stronger, you can do that pretty easily. You'll just, I think it's, let's see, Shift A search, just go to multiply. Just a regular math node. Oops. Wait, did I lose my colors? Oh, I think it is a vertex one. Oh, my bad. And instead of doing all that, I could just make a value node straight out of it. I can make it darker, brighter, or whatever. Just make it like 2. All right, cool. So there's your outfit. I got it looking shiny, looking the way I want it to. If I wanted to, I can bake it. I use an app called, or an add-on called Text Tools. It's free. Definitely check it out if you go into your UV editor. Now let's see if this works, because sometimes things have been going too good so far. I don't know if it's gonna work. So let's take a look at this, and we'll just do it in small, like 1K. And I'm gonna go here with a base color. And I'm getting an issue where the nodes are a problem. And that's because I haven't set all of these to use nodes. And I'm not going to, just because this is just a demo. So what I am going to do is turn this back on so I can see stuff. Hit A, I'm going to hit Shift D, make a duplicate. And before I let go, I'm going to separate that selection. All right. Now I'm going to hide it except for this selection. So this still exists on this one, but now I have it all by itself. And I'm going to go ahead and remove unused nodes. Now I just have this one. I should be able to go ahead and bake it. All right, there we go. So now I bake this. If I want to, I can hit, let's go ahead and save as, and we'll just, I'm gonna change this as test shirt. And the reason why I'm changing it is when I bake it, it'll name it, there you go, test shirt base color, save as, just save it here in this test folder. And because I changed the normals and the roughness and the metallic, I'm gonna bake those maps as well. That's interesting. Hold on, let's see. Is this working on it? All right. I guess the metallic map is whatever. Well, we'll see how it works. Save as. And I'll bake a normal map. Let's see if I do it like this. Oh. Alright, cool. So let's make a new material real quick. And we're going to call this one test shirt. Test shirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on that, edit, hit A. I'm going to assign it to this new material. Now all materials are empty. And so now I'm going to just go into the shader section. Find my little thing right here. Shift A, search image texture. And now I'm going to go ahead and grab my images. And I can just grab them and drop them in. So I'm going to grab this metallic. I'm going to grab this normal map. And I'm going to grab this roughness map. And then I'm just going to select the color. So we put color in. Now I've got my color. Let's grab the roughness, plug that in. feel like the shirt is the same, but let's grab metallic. And we'll grab the normal. I'll grab a normal map. And then we'll set this to non-color. I feel like I did something wrong. I'm just not sure what, because that does not look good at all. Do I have these reversed or something? Oof. Maybe the quality is... Normally I don't have it this bad, so let's see if I can try to figure out what's going on. Let's set this to linear. Let's get a higher quality bake maybe. Normally it's not much of an issue, but you know, on stream there's always an issue. And I had no issues up until now, so. But this isn't a baking video, it's more on the masking. So I think I went over a lot of the masks. Go ahead and save. I'm curious about the metallic map. The metallic map doesn't seem to be working. I'm not sure why. Sometimes what I found is it needs to have, if I've got too many adjustments and no base texture, it kind of gives me an issue. So I think that might be the problem. So I'm going to try to fix that real quick. So there's nothing really here for all of these overlays and mixes to go on top of. So let's see if I shift A, search, image. Actually, I'll make a new image. New. We'll just call it. And actually, I have an image here. We're going to go open up this white texture. And I'm just going to plug this one into here. I'll probably, now everything's super shiny. I think I'm going to invert that. Okay, so the metallic should start off as black and then go to white, so that's why I inverted my white image, but the opposite is the same for roughness, so I'll stick that one as roughness. And let's see if the bake is a lot better. So should turn this down a bit. Still nothing. Interesting. Let's see. That's not that one. Oh, no real change there. This is my metallic is not working for some reason. And I am not quite sure why. But you know, there's always something. But for now, that's kind of like how it looks. That's how you can set it up. You just want it in Blender. If I want to go ahead and take a look at, say, like another area, I can do that real quick. Let's go ahead and hide this. And I'm just gonna do an area. Let's say, let's do the pants. Hit Alt H to bring everything back. I'm gonna face mode. I'll select on the pants. Just select over here. Control I, hide everything. I got pants. Nice. All right, so let's go ahead and switch this one to use nodes. No. And I'll just grab all the pieces and put them together for this thing real quick. Oh, and then also you can create these things to use later. So I have an asset library that I made. All right, so I have this shader right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a new material, just drop it on that. And the reason I did that is because I have something in here that I want, and that's this little stack right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it. And let's go to my pants. All right, paste. All right, so then I can just plug in color here, and these are this is a pre-made node group that splits up the channels from different maps to where they're supposed to be. And I have to update this. Okay, cool. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my stuff. So I have a little window over here that I keep for the file explorer. I just keep it down when I don't need it. That way I don't have to keep opening it up. So I'm just looking at pants, so just grab pants. And I'll make this blend file available for use. All right, cool. So then I just plug all my stuff in. And there's my ID. We'll use that in just a moment. And so basically what this does is it splits up the different stuff the way I need it, combines them based on whatever they need. And then once I know how the setup is, like I don't need this maps setup anymore. And this isn't connected to anything, so I can delete it. But that way, instead of having all those wires, I just have this little stack that I hook up. So we've got this mask or ID map. I plug it in directly. It should show me what's going on. Whoa. That's I don't know why that mask looks like that. That's are these all pants? Maybe I grabbed the wrong maps. Pants, pants, pants. I am confused. I don't remember this happening ever. I don't know what's causing. Oh, there must be, I must have something wired wrong. Okay, that's what that is. I had an emissive coming through. But we've got these pants, we've got shoes, all kinds of whatever. So if I want to use the thing I just made, let's go to where I have it here in the shirt, and I'm gonna grab all of this. And if I wanted to, I could just group this. But I don't want to group it. I want to keep it out here. Oh, I'll group it right now. All right, I'm going to group it. All right, everything's feeding the way it should. And this needs to come out. So that way it's nice and clean here. And then I'm going to hit Shift A search, mix. Make sure it's a color node. This will go bottom, top. I feel like I didn't grab the right map. Oh, see, I don't. I was like, that's a shirt. So let me delete that. Bring this into here. Okay, so it's already trying to fill in based on the colors I already have selected, but I can go into here and start messing around with all that stuff like I did before. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. shoes attached here too. Shoelaces still need to get done. Go. All right, cool. So I know which areas need to be colored, what needs to be colored, how to figure it out, how to add my own little touches to it, all that good stuff, right? And when you figure it all out, you can probably do something like, let me see if this works. Oh, let's save this. Oh no, my blender shut down. Hey, what's good, Lee? Why did my blender shut down? All right, so hopefully that's saved. I don't know if it's saved. Luckily, Blender auto saves. So usually when that happens, I just go in here straight to auto save. Date modified. Today. Okay, so my stuff didn't stay, I guess. Oh, hold up, this needs to be plugged in. Okay, so that setup didn't stick because it quit out before I could save. So let's go ahead and open up. Let's open up this one. I moved it. Okay, so it doesn't exist anymore. Let's try this one. Okay, so this is what I've done with Kaz for the body side of it when it comes to the coloring. So once you know how to set up your colors and what you want to do, once it loads, like my system is struggling to stream and handle this right now. I've been burning it out, so I apologize. There you go. So once you know how to set up all your coloring, you can go in and change things as you see fit. Oh, I got that set in its own window. Like so. I do not know why I set this here like this. My buddy was telling me to use this environment mode and it's pissing me off. Maybe a background. Yeah, use. So I didn't do the skin. for this particular scene. But I set everything else up. Once you have it up, and this is an older setup that I had, so essentially the same thing that I did before. I'm just using it like a full stack version of it. I think the way I have it now is better. But let's say I want to change that jacket color. Put some in the wrong material. Let's go to overcoat. So we go in here. Let's make this like a Alright, you can have a lot of fun with all the different things that you can do. Alright, set it up the color. But yeah, that's about it for this. I'm gonna go ahead and make this available on my Google Drive for a while. I'm running out of space, so it won't be there for too much longer. But I'll save the other blend file that I made. I'll put it on the Google Drive. You can go ahead and take a look at it. Oh, and the video that I found, let's find it on YouTube real quick. I don't know where my music went. I think it was just like Blender color. This guy right here. How to color mask in Blender, shader, no Photoshop needed. He kind of goes over exactly
this will be our...
how all of this works. And he uses a little bit more in-depth mask as an example. I'm just using what I need and for my purposes, and for this gives you how to break it down to the exact specific color you're looking for. You can use it as a mask. So yeah, definitely check it out. Crispy, subscribe because I don't know I haven't before. I don't know if he's still making videos or whatnot, but this was the only video I found that made sense of everything. So if I didn't make any sense, check this out and you should be good to go. But yeah, by the time this comes out, it will have my blend file in the description. You can go ahead and take a look at it. And that's it.